Welcome to my presentation. And in my presentation today, I will show that people can think very differently about excellence or student excellence in higher education. And they can conceptualize excellence in different ways. And I argue that it's therefore important to have reflective tools that gain more clarity on the matter. And within our projects, we developed two tools that can help in that respect. So the work I present today is part of a larger project called the Exchange Project. And in this project we worked on the spillover effects of honors education to regular education, and we investigated that. And it was a collaboration of 4 universities, and the people are on the screen here are the collaborators of this part of the project. And especially our PhD student, Nelleke de Jong, well, she should get a lot of credits for this work, of course. So in our projects, one of our starting points was the claim that it's said that honors programs are expected to contribute to a culture of excellence. So by providing talented and motivated students the opportunity to excel, but also by creating a culture in which excellence is itself is more accepted, or outstanding performances are more accepted. And we started out with the question, what is actually a culture of excellence, and also how can we measure this? However, this proved to be quite difficult, as the term excellence or student excellence as a concept is a bit problematic. In higher education, it's used in many different ways, often contradictory or even conflicting. And we had to dig deeper to get more grip on what this concept actually meant. So we worked hard on that, and it resulted in 2 reflective tools. One really focused on the concept of student excellence, which is called FACE, and one questionnaire focused on how you can measure a culture of excellence. And today I will talk about them both with respect to conceptions of excellence. But first I would like to do a little exercise, and now I give you 20 seconds to find 2 objects, one red one and one green one. Okay, let's go. So if you are all back and you switch to the gallery mode, then you can turn on your camera, very important. Then we can do a little exercise. So I will now in a moment read out 4 statements related to how you what you consider to be excellence or an excellent performance within education. And if you agree with my statements, please put up the green objects. And if you disagree, please put on the red objects. Okay, let's go. Everyone is able to excel. I see a lot of green objects over here. Okay, next one. Excellent students are recognized by the quality of the end product they deliver. I see green, reds, reds. Yes. Okay. Competition in education is important. Yes, the teacher needs to be an expert. Okay, well, I put on my screen again. So I had to answer these statements, and what we see is sometimes we agree a lot, sometimes we differ a lot, and I think you might have noticed for yourself that it's sometimes also quite difficult to give the answer. So yeah, what do I think? Yes, no, maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, that is exactly what we acknowledge in our work, and also in our framework for conceptualizing excellence. So we developed a framework to help teachers to get more clarity, teachers and as well students as well, to get more clarity on their conceptions of excellence. We called it FACE, which is short for Framework for Analyzing Conceptions of Excellence. And this framework is based on literature, compiled of literature on excellence, giftedness, talent and motivation. And it can be used to discover, clarify and unravel your ideas about student excellence within an educational culture. And you can do this alone, but also with a team on a program level, or maybe even at the level of your department or institution. So this is our graphical representation of the framework for analyzing conceptions of excellence. Bear with me, I'll walk you through. So the basis of the framework is an axis, which can be seen as a continuum with two extremes: inclusive notions of excellence and exclusive notions of excellence. Well, exclusive notions are based on a comparison with others. An outstanding student is better than others or better than the norm. And the underlying assumption is that almost by definition, or some would say by definition, not everybody can be excellent. On the other hand, inclusive notions are based on the assumption that everybody can develop in his or her own way, and therefore everybody is able to excel in his or her own way. So these two standpoints, inclusive views and exclusive views on excellence, can be seen as two extremes around the continuum. And we will work out this further by the basis of 4 questions. Who is excellent? What is excellence? Why focus on excellence? And how to evoke excellence? And as you can see within this picture, each question can be answered by focusing on 2 categories. And these 2 categories then have each an inclusive and an exclusive answering option. So now when you put this in a picture like this, it all seems very simple. But when you were thinking about it yourself, you maybe already realized like sometimes I think more in an inclusive way, sometimes maybe more in an exclusive way. I am not that simple, so to say. And actually, we don't think that's also not the point of this work. But we do think that by answering these questions, you get more clarity on what your ideas are, and also where they come from. And to illustrate this a little bit more further, I would like to provide you some insights from our qualitative study we conducted. So within our larger project, we had 8 teams working on the transfer of honors education to regular education. And in their first meetings, this team discussed actually what excellence or student excellence meant and what a culture of excellence entailed for them. And I also talked about strengths and weaknesses of honors education. Well, we recorded these meetings and transcribed and analyzed the transcripts by using FACE as an analytical tool. So our framework was our instrument. And we applied a qualitative multiple case study design. And the results of the study show that even within the context of honors education, people talk and think differently about excellence. And we discovered 3 different discourses. One which focuses on excellence, student excellence as being curiosity driven, one that really focuses on individual growth, and one that focuses on being an engaged talent, making the world a better place. And when I put these discourses within our framework, interesting, meandering patterns emerge, you could say. So the curiosity-driven discourses focuses on special qualities that students need to have, such as, for example, intellectual curiosity or self-directed learning skills, in order to develop themselves individually. And all these teams don't really talk about why you should focus on excellence, but the question how to evoke excellence, all teams talk about the teacher as a coach that challenges students, so challenging is important, and that you do that by providing freedom. But they also see the teacher as an expert. So students have a lot of freedom, but there is a point on the horizon. Students need to be steered in the right direction. Within the individual growth discourse, this is quite different. In the individual growth discourse, it's all about individual growth, of course. And teachers acknowledge that this might sometimes lead to outstanding performance and even better performances compared to peers. But that's not the goal. The goal is to let students really flourish and develop themselves. And teachers best do this by taking on a coaching role in the strict sense of this word, and by offering freedom to students to really find their own way and to really discover their own talents. And in the engaged talent, it's all about making the world a better place and to use your qualities or your talents to do that. So what teachers acknowledge is that sometimes certain qualities need to be present in order to be able to do that, and also within their teaching they coach students to be self-reflective and also to assist them in this learning process. So to wrap up this part, we demonstrated that different conceptions of excellence exist, and I think by using FACE as an analytical tool and even as a reflective tool helps to make these differences explicit, and it does so by focusing on this layered nature, and therefore we think it's a great reflective tool. And currently we are working on a very nice web application that teachers and students can use to do this for themselves or within their team. Hopefully we launch this in September. But like I said, we started off with wanting to know what a culture of excellence was and also how we could measure it. So in another part of our project, we focused on that. And after a lot of reading and stuff, we defined culture of excellence in the following way: a school culture in which students who want to excel are challenged, enabled, and allowed to deliver outstanding performances by using pedagogies geared at outstanding performances. So we developed a measure, an instrument that taps into these things, but we also took on this idea, of course, that conceptions of excellence can be very different. And we provided, and I will focus on this for the rest of my presentation. So we provided students with a long list of traits which could be considered typical for outstanding students. And we wanted to answer the following research question: do honor students conceptualize excellence differently than regular students do? Well, about 1,000 students filled in our questionnaire, and we first conducted an exploratory factor analysis, which is a statistical technique that you can use to discover, in our study, different conceptions of excellence. And we found 3, and interesting, 2 of them quite resemble our qualitative work. So student excellence is conceptualized as being curiosity-driven, as being an engaged talent, but also more traditionally as being a high achiever. And if you then look at the differences between honor students and regular students, an interesting pattern emerges. So honor students conceptualize excellence a little bit more as curiosity-driven than regular students do, while regular students tend to be a little bit more traditional, and they consider being a high achiever, they conceptualize it also as being a high achiever, so somebody who gets high grades. So to wrap this part up, our quantitative study shows that among students, different conceptions of excellence can be distinguished as well. And we also find that honor students and regular students think differently about student excellence. And I think the take-home message from our presentation today is that excellence can come in many forms. And excellence is quite often depicted as a light bulb, but actually you would need many shapes of light bulbs to really do justice to the concepts. And this is quite difficult, and therefore we developed 2 tools that can help you to gain more insight in this. So the questionnaire, which of course can be easily administered at a larger scale to different groups, etc., but what is a little bit more limited to the questions related to excellence, it taps into. And the framework for analyzing conceptions of excellence, which is more applicable for individuals and small groups, but provides really in-depth insights in the what, who, why, and how of conceptions of excellence. And by doing so, it might not only provide insight, but also understanding of why differences emerge and where they are coming from. And with that, we argue also the potential for unity. So thank you for your attention, and we will discuss this later on in the session.
Thank you so much, Elanor, for this amazing presentation. I think it's really great. I think it's a really well-structured research. You can really see the layeredness of different concepts. I don't know if there are any questions, urgent questions. I have some questions, but I can also save them up for the discussion later on. I don't see any questions yet. So well done. Then we move on to the second speaker presenter of the day, and we have a brief discussion afterwards. Professor Carmen Cretu, from the Department of Psychology and Educational Sciences, University of Jazi. I find it difficult to pronounce, but you get that often, I guess, but let's go with Jazi. And she is really into gifted education, talent management, educational leadership, themes like that. And she's a really active member in a lot of the things our research group is also participating in. For example, European Honors Council, but also different projects, co-talent, STEAM, things like that. So we're really honored that she is here today to tell us a little bit about teachers' opinions on talent development in higher education, because that's also one of our main topics, I think, recently, curricular development. She's been advising and helping people to redevelop their curricula basically all over the world. So I would give the floor to you then, Carmen.
Hello, everybody. I would like to introduce my colleague. We collaborated this study with a team of 4 teachers. Nicoletta is here, and also Tina, who is a PhD student in our department. All of our team members were involved in co-talent project. So we wanted to know, it's not full screen. Okay, we wanted to know what is the current image on honors programs through Romanian universities teachers' view, and why? Because we had not such an image till now. We started an exploratory research because this topic needs to be understood in depth, since it hasn't been done before. As a matter of fact, honors programs are relatively new reality also in European area, not only in Romania. Despite this fact, as Collins and his team found out, relevant actors in academic communities generically agree that encouraging talented students to highly express their capabilities by talented institutional policies and management is one of the main ways of academic communities' success. Other authors underline that perspective on honors education depend on cultural differences and particularities. But we can recognize several common characteristics underlined by honors pedagogy, like, for instance, innovative change and freedom, which is up to policy and management in education. Innovative change is necessary in universities, and I would like to stress on an interesting model recently presented by Kim and Deo Ho. It's a model triple helix government industry academy. Also, academic freedom, it's analyzed by Karan studies from a different perspective using an empirical data from over 1,500 respondents from across the UK. And these authors found out a positive relationship between the world rankings position of each analyzed university and academic freedom. Also, our study found some room from initiating and developing honors programs in the frame of the National Strategy for Higher Education in Romania. But nothing is possible to start if we don't know the image, the current image of some relevant actors in the community. So our survey was based on a questionnaire. We happily had 83 respondents, teachers in different faculties from 12 Romanian universities, but all these teachers were involved in innovative projects. We had 4 indicators related to teachers' opinion, and I will present each of them. I will start with teachers' knowledge on honor programs, pedagogy, and practices in higher education institutions. And as you can see, most of teachers have a very small extent and a small extent of knowledge on this topic regarding to practices at university of around the world other than Europe, especially from United States. The same situation or approximately similar situation is when we ask them about the topic in European universities. About the practices, about the what is doing in this field. We had here a more detailed approach, and we asked different items about the history of honors program, research, theoretical models, on pre-university education, on higher education, and also good practices. And we had an image on this criteria. Happily, most of them consider that the programs in excellence development could be adapted also in our country, and this is in a very good correlation with another question we asked with the answers, respectively answers, regarding their expertise in working with talented students, because there is an amazing different situation. The second indicator we stressed on was perceptions on talented students' characteristics. Here, we used an instrument developed during the Co-Talent project in the frame of work group U-Spotter. And we had characteristic lists. We tried to evaluate these characteristics lists in different workshops, and we trust enough in this instrument. So we ask our respondents to what extent they agree that these characteristics are representative for what they mean about a talented student. I like very much the previous instrument Elanor presented, and I think this results could be developed and enrich it if we further we will use it additionally. And you can see here that almost all the characteristics from our instrument, U-Spotter instrument, was agreed by the most of teachers. Inclusive, for instance, professional ethics. The third indicators deal with commitment of involvement of teachers in programs related to honors pedagogy. because we had no such, and we have currently no such programs with this name and with a recognition, official formal recognition of such programs. But we have many other kind of programs for talent development and encouraging. And about the working experience is the slide I told you before. Look, to a great extent, and to a very great extent, the teachers had working experience with talented students. But in research projects, in extracurricular activities, in mentoring them for different internal and international competitions, clubs, and many other activities. And there are enthusiastic teachers who make voluntariat, like in other countries, in mentoring talented students. Most of them consider that teachers need additional training. Also, they consider that programs are very interesting, and if they can encourage a specific environment and characteristics of programs, like you see in this slide. And the last slide on this indicator is very encouraging us, because most of them consider that it's necessary to organize such programs also in our universities. The last indicators had open answers, and its benefits and difficulties, and we depicted the answers, and we grouped them in three categories: national, institutional, and individual level. And we made a synthesis on the benefits for the national context, and you can see these benefits. I go further for benefits for the institutional level. And for individual level. Most of these benefits are in line with the current literature, even they don't know a lot about pedagogy and philosophy of honors. Regarding the obstacles, risks, and difficulties, we had the same grouping of answers, and you can see here they consider that we have centralization of decision making, administrative and financial control, too strong, top-down. Decision making at university level is not exercised enough, but on top, and also the organizational culture, which has to be built. Also a lack of continuous professional development in teaching, and teachers' resistance to change. It's something common also with the literature. The last series of questions deal with proposal for honors programs, how these programs could be introduced in Romania, what the proposal could be. And this was an optional answer. We had only 32 respondents, but we grouped this answer in 5 levels. As you see here. And for level 1, we collected, for all levels, we collected very interesting proposals. and interesting and relevant for national context, but some of them are interesting also for international contexts. We are now members of STEAM project, which deal with policymakers, and we think that we can valorize this answer also in to build a guide for policy making in making honors programs in transdisciplinarity. A lot of people stress on the necessity to start a pilot experiment like you had in Netherlands many years ago by Sirius program. Also other proposals who could disseminate the idea or could create a change of debate on this topic. It's also welcomed by them. Some didactics issues like encouraging a differentiated curriculum, which is very difficult through massification made by Bologna process, and also the financial issues. Actually, this blocked a lot the initiative in our countries to make a regular base, formal base for introducing in universities such programs. The conclusions. Through this exploratory study, we found out we made only a preliminary diagnosis, but we think we set up a pertinent foundation for a future research. We found a relatively low level of knowledge on specific honors programs, pedagogy and management, but general agreement on characteristics of talented students, an openness, high level of interested openness for talent development programs or excellence development programs. This is the syntagma which is vehiculated more in Romania. And also very interesting from our side were the solutions advanced for the policy and management process. We think to have a follow-up after this exploratory, the first study on specific area of honors program in Romania. And in order to have a more consolidate these results, we want to increase the representatives to have a larger number of respondents, and also to increase the diversity of represented universities, not only research universities, but also other kind of universities, and to try to make some analysis, statistical analysis, correlations to see what is happened and why maybe. So we want also to exploit more the collected data, because we had a lot of interesting ideas for the national context. And we want also to make qualitative research to explore the solutions for relevant to educational policies and management, in order to help the launching of and developing of honors programs. And of course, this can be done by convincing the policymakers at the institutional level, at least, and probably to build some policy papers, briefing policy papers in this topic. In Romania, it's I think it's kind of difficulty because the diploma it's delivered not at the university institutional level, but at the ministry institutional level, of course. It is delivered by university, but it has to be recognized by the ministry. So a diploma, a certificate, a formal certificate which has the impact on credits, and it's difficult to regulate, to make on formal basis without a rule, a methodological frame done from the Ministry of Education. So I think there are many universities who will want to start such kind of formal programs, not in the formal curriculum, but like extracurricular activities, but the diploma or the certificates has to be recognized. So this were our preliminary results from our exploratory study, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Carmen. So sorry we cannot really give an applause, but it's really clear. I think it's really great scoping exercise. I don't see any questions in the present in the chat, but I have one actually, because what I noticed, and you pointed this out a couple of times, that there's a discrepancy between basically the knowledge about excellence and also, but on the other hand, the willingness to do it. So just leap into it, jump into it. So do you have any idea where that is coming from? Is it basically because people see the word excellence and think, oh, we want to have that, or is it more beneficial in the way that people, you said something a little bit about it, the benefits, but why do people want to become excellent? Why do they want to implement this? I mean, do you have an explanation for that?
Yes, now I can give you a short answer, but at discussion I will invite also my colleagues to join and to give explanation. You know, in our country it is a tradition of excellence, starting from pre-university system with Olympiad, international Olympiad, with a lot of very best practices, but also a lot of rhetorics who impacted also the university teachers' mentality. Mm-hmm. And the excellence is based, the meaning of excellence is very much influenced by competitional contexts.
Yeah, I want to go to there actually. So great, you already pointed the way. Because if I look at the model from Elanor, so it's really much focused on becoming the best, excel in one area, competition. So really, not everybody can excel, but we can mentality. So it's really the sort of policy is really towards that.
Yes, yes. So this it's needed also to switch a little bit the mentality, and this is smoothly. Have to be smoothly, slowly up done, not from like this in a moment. But the teachers are very open. The problem is that everybody in the world, we are very busy, and so is why a regular frame is necessary for encouraging the initiative, for making room and recognize the effort and the value of this effort of teachers and also of students, but formally, because they do a lot of such things and a lot of such programs, but they are not recognized, but only by competition. They are recognized by results like marks or competitions, but not like certificates and diploma who can applaud a long effort and a deep effort and building a community of excellence and making differentiation between...
And to show that contribution, you really need diploma or certificate just to show you've been doing it, and then it becomes more beneficial for people to achieve it. Okay, thank you. There's also a question from Anne Schnick. Basically to everyone, she's asking you a question. So, can you say it out loud, Anna?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can also read it out, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen, for an excellent presentation, and also Peter for this, this very, very relevant question, because we are, with the STEAM Plus project in which I'm a partner, we are specifically looking how talent programs can be a leverage for innovating higher education in the context of the complexity of the 21st century. And I think that is so radically different from, the competitive and extractive mindset of the past, that we should really, change the curriculum. But all the teacher resistance and the institutional resistance is so high that we think, talent programs give us, what was it called? The pilot projects, or, little laboratories where you can innovate a little bit. So in that sense, I was happy that you said, like, in Romania, we don't have this big tradition of talent, because then I think, wow, you have like a blank slate, and you could really go straight towards this transdisciplinary, co-creative, all talents matter to find the solutions, and be the pilot in Europe. You could be the pioneer in Europe to explore and experiment with this really complexity-based, transdisciplinary, transcending the boundaries of the disciplines, to work together with NGOs, with business people, with policymakers, with students and academics from different disciplines, to explore, responses to the very, very complex issues that our societies are facing. So I'm really hopeful that you don't have this already embedded, traditional, we want to excel, we want to be the best. So you could really, go ahead of everybody and say, if we're going to create something new, let's do really something new, and explore this new approach. So I would be interested in hearing if that would be, that would be in your scope of your future projects, since it's also, what we're aiming for with the STEAM Plus project. I would really hope that all of Romania would be enthusiastic for that.
Yeah, we hope. We gave a lot of credit to STEAM because it's very good way to practice this mentality, changing mentality and other mentality on excellence. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just need some kind of spark that really, brightens everything up, and you can start on something new. I also noticed an interesting discussion in the chat about, the use of the phase model and in combination with co-talent tools. Ellen already responded to that. I think it's a good idea, so you can combine it and dig even deeper. But coming back to that, and I think then we need to finish up the discussion as well. I also had a question for, basically two questions for Elanor. You're already back. You're ready. I think you were already scared that I was going to ask you something. No, I'm really wondering, so you made a really brilliant framework, a layered one. How, depending on context, did you find any explanation for that? Because I can also imagine that the way I respond to questions is often depending on the context. Sometimes I'm doing it as a researcher, sometimes I'm more like a, advisor, or so there's always something surrounding it. Did you notice anything about that, or maybe changes throughout people's lives, or combined to positions they are in? I can imagine that a manager is looking differently at the culture of excellence and students, something like that.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happens, Peter, but I get a black screen sometimes, and then I'm completely gone, but now I'm back, so I kind of missed a part of it, but I got the contextual part. Well, I think it's highly contextual because, what we show in our qualitative part, this is all done in the context of Dutch honors education, a place where you think, we have some kind of understanding, a common understanding of what honors is, and I think we do, but even then you see that these teams conceptualize or talk about it in very different ways. We were not able to pick, as a qualitative study, so to pinpoint it to, I don't know, is it research university or applied sciences or different domains or anything, because, well, we don't have the data for that, but I think there might be something on it. And actually we are now, we are currently developing this web application, and we hope to do is also to use it as a tool to collect data, and then we have a couple of questions which step into that. So which country, for example, which domain are you in, and well, maybe by that we are able to collect a lot of data, and we can make these comparisons in the future. But well, that's something well, far away still.
Oh, nice. Okay, thank you. And then yeah, one final question, also to go maybe as a takeaway question for everybody, but you can respond to it if you want, Elanor. Because I also noticed that well, basically in the study you conducted, you asked honor students and regular students about excellence. That maybe, but I'm not entirely sure because the data didn't show it exactly. But is the term excellence maybe a little bit pejorative or sometimes negative?
Well, it could be. There could be. In this presentation, we talk about conceptions of excellence, and I framed it in this way, but we were sensitive to that. So in our survey, we asked about to what extent do you think this is typical for an outstanding student? So we kind of, yeah, try to not use the term in that way in order to to tackle that issue.
Yeah, okay, because there are also diversity issues and then gaps in society, things like that. So I can also imagine that excellence points towards that, even if you don't want to mention it in that way.
Yeah, there's always the danger of the elitist
yeah, exactly.
way or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, and Sylvia's also saying, yeah, in some countries it's certainly sensitive. We never use excellence. Yeah, we have the same. And we try not to call it that way, but sometimes you cannot pass around it. But yeah, so I think it's always good to keep in mind that it's becoming more inclusive and exclusive. And I think that layered framework really helps to get a grip on that.
No, and even because I had this topic comes up more often, but I think that if you change it to talent or honors or whatever, the same underlying questions do remain important, and the same underlying worldviews and beliefs affect how you conceptualize such things. Yeah,
I agree. Okay, well, thank you everybody for your contributions. I think we have to finish up now. We have a few moments and we can go to the next presentation. Yeah, we have still 2 days ahead of us with a lot of fun and a lot of interesting presentations. So thank you, especially the presenters, but also everybody else who contributed, and hope to see you